when you cause me to leave, child, my happy home. But someday, baby, you ain't worry my life anymore.
So, Guerilla 450 launching tomorrow. What a weird name. Can you think of Royal Enfield naming their bike Guerilla?
Frankly, I thought it's called Guerilla. But now that you call it Guerilla, I am intrigued to know what it means.
Origins of the word to me come from filmmaking.
Okay.
Guerilla filmmaking is a style of filmmaking where you go to a location with camera gear, you show up without any permission because you don't have the budget, you don't have the production budget to do a proper shoot. And if and when you get caught, you decide how to manage that.
It's also that marketing, no? That guerrilla marketing that they do where they randomly place stuff around.
Right, yeah. That is coming from Royal Enfield, who have not named a new bike other than the Himalayan, the Hunter, anything that is not from their own past. Be it the Meteor, be it the Interceptor. Thank you for the great coffee.
Oh, you're welcome. It's not just great, really, really good.
Yeah.
No, so where I was coming from is I like my motorcycles old and slow. And I know that the world isn't going that way. At least Enfield have realized that, and see, the bike may not do it for me, but it will tick a lot of right boxes is what I feel it will do. Right? For me, I'm excited. It looks like their newest engine, the Himalayan engine. Now they'll start building on that. Yeah, so basically their current modern day Scrambler is what it is, right?
Yeah, people are even saying that it's replacing the Scram 411, which never did that well.
Yeah, that bike looked a bit off.
I did like the colors on that.
Yeah, the color
on the Guerilla, I hate whatever the spy shots have shown us so far. You know what I liked the most was that covered a bike in matte black, which was a test mule. That looked the best.
Okay, I haven't.
That reminds me, Royal Enfield gave the bike to Guy Martin. So Sid Lal and Guy Martin, they posted about the Guerilla a couple of weeks ago. And it's very interesting because Guy Martin is not an obvious choice for Royal Enfield. Guy Martin is known to ride fast. He's been competing and winning in the deadliest of all motorcycle races for a while now, right? And that's his whole game. So suddenly, out of nowhere, he posts a video of him doing burnouts and jumps, standing up and just having fun on the Guerilla. And he has this caption saying, "The last time I rode an Enfield was at Rider Mania in 2014. This seems like a lot of fun." Right? So that's an entirely new direction. Royal Enfield is trying to go fast. Otherwise, you would not just call Guy Martin.
Yeah, maybe how the Bullet was made the Bullet. At its time, it was supposed to be fast.
Yeah.
And then over, because they didn't do anything about it, it became slow.
Yeah.
And I think they're going back into it. That's a pretty nice direction to take. Would you pick this over the Himalayan? I don't know. If just blindly saying between the two, what would you pick?
Short answer, yes. Long answer, I rode the new Himalayan quite a bit. I loved it. It is what the Himalayan should have always been. It's a beautiful engine. I would pick a lighter bike, a faster bike, a bike that's more nimble. for everyday use.
Hmm.
I think that's where this will really shine.
So what you are expecting it to be is to be lighter and
Sharper, should turn in really easy, should be nimble.
it's more like a Himalayan for city riding.
I would not look at this as an ADV bike because I don't think it's borrowing much else from the Himalayan. The Speed 400, I expect it's something very similar. It's a really nice bike, but I just didn't feel special riding it. If it on paper it makes sense. When you see the bike, it makes sense. It's a little small, but everything else is great. It's got a lot of power as well for what it is.
Yeah.
It just didn't feel special enough. Maybe the Scrambler 400 is different, and I'm really looking forward to riding that one.
They're basically the same bikes, but with a bit of tweaks here and there.
Yeah.
I think from Triumph's point of view, I think those bikes do very well. Bikes are getting smaller, if you have to say, because that's what people want to ride. And that's why you see more motorcycle brands going smaller. All the bigger brands are making smaller engines, and all the smaller brands, like how Enfield used to be, are making bigger engines. And that's where they're all coming together, and this new genre of motorcycles is coming out. One line, what do you expect from it?
I expect a light, modern Enfield, which will be fun in the corners, which will be a great city bike, and which I can do weekend runs on.
I have a feeling it will replace the Hunter in the long run. It will not in the long run. Probably, if it looks very similar, they'll shut down the Hunter and keep this running. Even though the Hunter is one of their highest selling motorcycles, because it's too close to each other. If it's more or less in the same package, it may just make sense to run only one rather than run both of them.
Right.
And a bigger, better engine. It might, because the Hunter does the exactly same thing. It's at the youth. It's more fun riding. It's nimble. It's fast for whatever it is supposed to do. And if this is a version 2 of the Hunter, it might just replace it. It's a bike that sold a lot. Period.
It's a cool little
It's
bike.
a good
but,
bike to start motorcycling on.
Yeah, it's a great first bike.
Right? And that's exactly where it is sitting, where younger people can ride an Enfield and then say this is the brand that I enjoy, and hence buy different Enfields. Right? I have a feeling this one is going to replace that one.
So it's like the gateway drug into the world of Enfields.
Yeah.
Right. That reminds me, I have always wanted a bike like this because my grandfather used to have an Enfield. My father has been riding Enfields. So I always wanted one. But I like going fast. I like going off-road. I enjoy riding modern bikes. I still prefer bikes looking this way though.
Or you can sell your house and buy a Ducati, no?
Yeah, the Ducati, now that you mentioned that, people have been comparing the Guerilla to all sorts of bikes. But the moment I saw the first spy shots, it reminded me of the Ducati Scrambler.
Okay.
Because when Ducati came up with the Scrambler, it was something fresh, it was something new.
Yeah.
It was a brand new platform. They went all out on the design. It's Ducati. It's a beautiful bike to look at. And it sort of made its own segment, right?
Yes.
And maybe the Guerilla does that for Enfield.
I think so. So again, yeah, so that's what I'm saying. The Ducati Scrambler is very nice. It's just bloody expensive to own. And again, the problem with expensive bikes is that you're very careful while riding it. That if it falls, then do I have to spend another fortune fixing it? If it also do I have to wait for 3 months to fix it, for the part to come in? And those are the bikes. So that's where I feel a lot of these bigger bikes, bigger companies that were building these 1200 cc's realized that people don't want to break those bikes. But the ads will always look like, everyone's having a lot of fun and skidding on the bikes. But the moment you're sitting on a Fortune, you won't, go that hard. Like if I give you a GS today, you would still think of if it falls, I will have to sell something to fix it, and
Probably a body part.
yeah. So that's what I'm saying. So where these 400s have been sitting is to say that you can break them and still
You can
fix
sort
them
of
at
do
cheap.
this, right? Whatever we have been doing today morning with all of these bikes.
Yeah.
Right.
It may also take up a lot of, and I don't know if it's right, but it may also take up a lot of Interceptor market, because when the Interceptor came in, it did the same thing. It was this affordable bike that was built to be taken apart and customized, right? The more expensive Bonnevilles and the BMWs, when you buy them, you already spent a lot of money on it. These ones, you didn't spend a lot of money on it, and hence it was easier to replace the part the day you bought it. And that's where the Interceptor was doing very well in terms of, if I want to change the exhaust, I can change the exhaust without thinking twice, because I've already saved a lot of money. This becomes an even cheaper version of that, to say that let me take it apart and then just retain the engine and change everything else on the bike. Yeah. What Enfield's done is build an ecosystem like this, where Enfield doesn't have to build all of these accessories, right? A lot of other smaller companies like ours can build things around those bikes that people can pick up and make, personalize it to their liking. And that's an ecosystem that's been working brilliantly for them, right? They focus on building the bikes and let the other guys focus on building parts for it that, just make it that custom build that nobody else has. From what it looks like, it's more directed towards being fast than being heritage. But again, it will have a few aspects of it being an authentic Enfield that it is.
It still has a round headlamp. Maybe the next Enfield doesn't even have that. That'll be something, right? An Enfield without a round headlamp.
I haven't thought of it that way, but yeah, maybe.
But yeah, I also just noticed that the last video that they posted, where they are still showing a little bit of the bike, the number plate on that bike says GRR1901, which means it's a little bit of a helmet nod to their heritage. So I don't think they will ever disregard their heritage. But as a design student, this sits somewhere which is right at the intersection of being neo-retro, and that's a genre that I really enjoy, where you take enough cues from the past, but you embrace the modern as well. Imagine a modern bike with 17-inch alloy wheels where you can put our gear on and it still somehow fits. Do you think Enfield is trying to be Triumph?
So I think Enfield is trying to be Enfield. It is trying to do, or rather being the learning from the mistakes of their competitors. Well, it will be wrong to say they're trying to be a Triumph, because now the Interceptor sells more than the Triumph Bonneville in the UK, right? Which is, so it's more like a foreign brand coming to India and selling more Marutis, or a foreign brand coming to India and selling more than Hero will sell, right? UK was always Triumph's home ground, and Enfield went there, and now they sell more bikes than the Bonnevilles sell, right? So they've learned from them, but they're trying to create something that's completely authentic. They've learned from a lot of people, right? So that's where I'm coming. They no longer want to be seen as a brand for old school guys who've been riding old school motorcycles. They're targeting younger crowd, but not letting the older crowd also go away, which means that there is no rule book anymore, which means what clicks with people is what they'll build, right?
I think Triumph is just proof that you can have a brand with 2-3 completely separate product lines going on.
Mm-hmm.
On one side, you have all of the modern speed triples, the street triples, right? Then you have all of the Bonnevilles, right? You have the street twin, you have the scramblers, all of those bikes. And you also have something as beautiful as a Thruxton. Which
No longer, but yeah.
No longer. Sad. But you have bikes like that, which are thoroughly modern, thoroughly fast. They will give modern sport bikes a run for their money. But they are as retro as it gets.
Yeah.
Right.
And then they'll build a Tiger, and then they'll go obnoxious and build a Rocket.
Yeah.
And still be able to... So without saying that we have a particular brand identity, like the brand identity is actually being just good quality stuff, irrespective of the motorcycle you ride.
This bike will create a new segment for Royal Enfield.
I agree.
The Hunter sort of did, but it did not. But this one will.
Okay.
Right. So, yeah, exciting stuff. Can't wait to ride. Would you ever pick one up? Would you ever buy a Guerilla 450 and have a taste of a modern, fast bike?
Dude, I have modern, fast bikes. But I don't mind buying one if it's the right price. Right. I think the pricing will also be right. I think it'll be cheaper than the Himalayan. Just to... to remove, like if you make it cheaper than that, it becomes even more affordable. And I think that's where it will sit. And at that price point, I'd buy one just to keep one. Or just to take one apart. I wouldn't keep it stock is what I know.
Yeah.
So...
Would you daily it? Would you bring it to office?
That'll depend on how it rides, we'll figure. But... I think to daily to office, I'd still ride one of the old ones. Because I need a bit of grunge and a bit of good vibrations while riding. So daily, I'd still ride one of the old ones that I still have. At least till they're legal. But yeah, it'll be a nice thing to, take apart. And genuinely, if you ask me, I'd get it to just take it apart.
I think we can wrap up. Whenever
Perfect.
the
This was...
bike shows up, we'll go and take test rides.
Perfect. So Enfield, if you're listening, please send us a motorcycle so that we can ride it.
Do you think it'll be as cool as that bike?